The boy has a pair of magical discerning eyes. Unlike ordinary appraisal, he can see the latent talents of others. For instance, the soldier currently requesting a spear in front of him. The boy can tell he'll be a great archer, but hopeless elsewhere. Malay constantly lagged in ranks because he practiced the wrong skills. With curiosity, the boy asked if he knew how to use a bow. He learned Malay disliked long-range combat and was less skilled in ambushes. Despite that, the boy suggested trying archery. The boy was the future lord of the land, and everyone agreed with this. Despite finding it an odd suggestion, Malay reluctantly agreed to it. Since it was his first, his companions suggested starting from a closer range. The boy dismissed this, wanting Malay to shoot from his spot. Though puzzled, Malay didn't mind since it was just for fun. He quickly aimed at the target and shot. However, the moment the arrow hit, everyone was shocked. Thinking it was a fluke, they urged Malay to try again. Shockingly, he hit the bullseye with every shot, proving it wasn't coincidence. So, everyone suggested switching to archery. Given his poor spear skills, seeing the crowd's confidence in him, Malay was convinced. After all, the battlefield is only about life and death. They became suspicious and asked how he recognized Malay's talent. Caught off guard, the focused boy hastily claimed it was intuition. Despite the flimsy excuse, everyone believed him. Thus, having bluffed his way through, it soon reached his father's ears. His father instructed him to hone this intuition to benefit his future. The boy took this to heart and also secretly appraised his father. To his astonishment, he found his father's talent to be extraordinarily high. If the soldier's talent in archery was B, his father's reaching S, and his father's combat power was as high as 94. He'd heard his father could defeat 10 soldiers alone, but seemed understated. The boy tried to appraise himself but only worked on others. Being able to appraise others was satisfying enough for him. Even without special abilities, his reincarnated status guaranteed a smooth life. His father was a lord of a noble family in the countryside. He lived in a grand house with servants and a personal chef. The boy believed this, but after reading many books, he was wrong. The empire was corrupt with peasant rebellions, but the state did nothing. He feared that the empire's destruction would lead to a large-scale war. If that happened, he would need his own soldiers in the chaos. Thinking of his appraisal skills, the boy had a bold idea. Soon, he sneaked out to the street, appraising every person he saw. Indeed, considering the future, he planned to start scouting for talent immediately. Although the idea seems beautiful, he failed to find any talent. He also discovered that his appraisal eyes would ache if used too much. At this time, a man was harshly told to leave. The owner's words and his skin color revealed he was not local. Parents warned their children to stay away because Marca people were filthy. The boy realized that they're an ethnic group from across the sea, mostly brought as slaves. They had very low status in this country. The boy felt pity. He offered the man a piece of bread. Reitz initially wanted to refuse, but he eventually accepted it. While Reitz was eating the bread, the boy tried appraising him. It revealed that Reitz had 3 S-level talents: cavalry, fortification, and strategy. His combat power was only 70, but his leadership score was 99. Immediately, the boy knew he must secure him. After eating, Reitz decided to leave to avoid troubling the boy. Persistent, the boy followed Reitz and asked to become his retainer. Caught off guard, the boy revealed his identity and praised Reitz's talents. Baffled, Reitz thought that bringing someone like him would only cause trouble. After thanking the boy for the bread, Reitz turned to leave. As the boy pondered how to keep him, Reitz's stomach inconveniently growled. Seizing the opportunity, the boy mentioned his household chef, which persuaded Reitz. Soon, Reitz realized the boy wasn't joking. He really was from a noble family and cooked delicious meals as promised. But after they ate, the butler advised Reitz to leave quickly. Because of Marca's status, they reluctantly entertained Reitz for his sake. Upon hearing this, the boy still insisted on making Reitz his retainer. The butler immediately complained to the lord. When the boy was summoned, both his father and the butler agreed they should immediately send Reitz away. The boy defended that Reitz possessed high talent, as his intuition suggested. Hearing this piqued the lord's interest, who decided to test Reitz. If Reitz could pass the test, he'd be hired as a soldier. However, the boy knew that Reitz's talents would lead to promotion soon. But hearing the test content of his father, the boy was stunned. It was a mock battle between Reitz and him. Passing meant winning. Hearing this, the boy panicked instantly. His father's combat power was 94, while Reitz was only 70. But the boy was relieved hearing that his father would go easy. If so, he believed Reitz had a great chance of winning. The father decided to change the location for the test. Reitz asked why he was helping him, given Marca are persecuted everywhere. Simply, he wanted Reitz to assist him when he became the lord. Reitz said, "I will do my best." Soon, the 3 of them arrived at the training ground. After sending for a sandglass, the lord completed explaining the rules. If Reitz strike him once before the sandglass ran out, he wins. The lord encouraged Reitz to perform well, and the fight soon started. "If that strike hit me with wooden sword, I'd split in 2. So fast, he was able to stabilize his footing instantly. Despite the disadvantage, Reitz managed to defend in an orderly fashion. Watching the one-sided battle, the boy worried when suddenly, the crowd gasped. They fought with him before, but couldn't withstand even his restrained attacks. Reitz was holding his ground, and the lord wasn't holding back. Under the lord's fierce attack, Reitz ultimately couldn't defend against the move. At the same time, unbeknownst to them, the sandglass was was nearly empty. Originally, Reitz was no match, and now injured, winning seemed unlikely. Suddenly, the boy's resolute gaze and words gave him surge of strength. "I will attack with all my might." Reitz's expression changed. "I have seen through your swordsmanship." Although it seemed like the Lord had received the strike, Reitz won. Reitz had also managed to cut few of the Lord's hairs. The crowd was surprised as no one expected Reitz to pass. As agreed, the Lord would hire Reitz as a soldier and left. At that moment, Reitz was surrounded by the crowd. After the mock battle, they had changed their opinions about him. The next day, Reitz officially started his job. He became a soldier and his personal servant, wanting to fully help. "I swear here that I'll spend my lifetime repaying your kindness." "Very well, please teach me a lot." The boy unexpectedly discovered that a beggar he saved had S-level talent. Although she's only 11, her power was higher than his father's. This made him immediately determined to have her by his side. Seeing others' talents is the boy's innate superpower. In this war-torn otherworld, forming relationships with various young geniuses is crucial. Bringing them under his command would make him famous in this otherworld. Recently, the first genius he took in already begun to show promise. After few months, Reitz became a fencing instructor and enhanced his intellect. He was the most intelligent person in the boy's household. Originally ridiculed for his foreign background, he now commanded respect from everyone. Reitz was highly revered and secretly admired by several maids. However, Reitz remained unwavering, using his life to repay the boy's kindness. He taught the boy regularly and informed him on current national affairs. As the boy had expected, the empire's government had completely decayed. The current king was an 8-year-old, with power held by his vassals. Reports of rebellions were frequent, and war was expected within few years. Hearing this, the boy became even more determined in his plans. Considering the future, he intended to use his skill to gather talents. So, his father suggested finding skilled individuals in magic for future wars. After all, magic is more effective than individual combat as it is faster. Reitz agreed and suggested searching in the central city of the county. The empire is divided into 7 continents, each continent divided into counties. Their location was a small territory within one of these counties. Following his advice, the boy arrived at county's central city. The city had 50,000 people, 50 times that of their territory. Thus, the boy had a much higher chance of finding talents here. While the idea was beautiful, the boy was still disappointed after appraising. Even though many people were present, he didn't find the right talent. No one met his standards and couldn't even find A-level talent. However, fate is unpredictable. During lunch, a figure flashed in front of the boy, stealing his wallet. Reitz swiftly picked him up and they chased after the thief. Despite carrying a person, he quickly caught the thief's cloak. To their shock, it uncovered a very beautiful young girl. Following her, they ended up in a small alley. Unexpectedly, they found 3 thugs cornering the girl. Without a word, one punched her, knocking her to the ground. As the boy was about to ask, the thug leader interrupted. "Who is this brat? Don't touch my lord with your filthy hands." "What did you say, you bastard?" Reitz quickly knocked down the other 2 thugs. Realizing they were outmatched, they saw the situation was bad and fled. The boy did not stop them but, curious, activated his appraisal eye. The girl had S-level, leadership of 92, and martial prowess of 116. At only 11 years old, her martial prowess matched his father's. But these were not the most important points. The important thing was, the boy found the magical soldier he sought. Seizing the opportunity, he asked if she wanted to become his retainer. At this, both the girl and Reitz were stunned. Reitz especially didn't understand why he would want to save a thief. However, after learning about the girl's remarkable talent in magic, she interrupted. She had never used magic, so how could he know? She simply had a good upbringing. She dismissed the boy as a naive rich kid with wild ideas. After decisively refusing him, Reitz told her to return the boy's wallet. Reluctantly, she complied, not wanting to owe them anything after saving her. It turned out that the people earlier were subordinates of slave traders. After caught stealing from Noble's house, she was sold to slave traders. She tried to escape and grab some money, but caught by them. The reason everyone refused to let her go because she was beautiful. Although speechless, the boy still wanted to know why she didn't escape. But before the girl could answer, what happened next revealed the answer. It turned out that she had family here that she couldn't leave behind. The people in front of her were the same. They were all orphans with no home to go to. Hearing this, the boy was momentarily stunned. He hadn't expected the tough girl to have such a side. Therefore, he didn't ask to become his retainer, but gave her money. The girl unhesitatingly accepted it. After giving him a curious look, she took the orphans and left. That evening, the day's events still preoccupied the boy. Indeed, he hadn't given up on the girl. The financial aid was just to leave a good impression. But maybe one day she'll change her mind. As he was preparing to appraise talents tomorrow, he heard noise downstairs. Realizing it was the orphans from earlier, he asked them what happened. "You are the one from earlier. Charlotte was taken away." The girl never imagined her first time using magic would unleash nuclear-level power. When they first met, the boy said she had an S-level talent in magic. She thought he was just a charlatan, but realized she was wrong. The boy was truly a miracle worker on land. Unknown to her, his ability to see others' potential came from reincarnation. Gathering geniuses as followers was his strategy to survive in this other world. Charlotte was captured by slave traders and sent sent Reeds to rescue her. Reeds, with S-level abilities, easily overpowered the slave trader's minions. Even surrounded by several attackers, he was unfazed. Effortlessly, Reeds resolved the enemy in a fluid motion. Seeing the situation deteriorate, the slave trader ordered his men to stop. Hoping to solve any misunderstanding, he soon realized he was overthinking it. He realized the instigators a young brat trying to take his slave. He became enraged and ordered his men to continue the assault. Seeing the slave trader's thugs, Charlotte wanted the boy to escape. To her surprise, the boy calmly remarked that Reeds could handle everything. The thugs saw it and heard the boy's statement. One attempted to move, and his body was suspended in the air. He had been lifted single-handedly by Reeds. "Do you guys even know what you have done? Daring to anger my lord is a crime deserving death." This statement did not intimidate the thugs. Instead, they thought Reeds was boasting and then swarmed up against him. But no matter how many faced Reeds, they were not enough. This time it wasn't just about the pain of punches and kicks. There was also the risk of death. This left the two bystanders completely terrified and motionless. Some tried to sneak attack on Reeds, but he easily handled them. Seeing this, the slave trader quickly instructed two magic users to attack. They didn't expect Reeds could sever their flames merely with his fingers. After that, with two punches, both were knocked unconscious. With last two men down, the slave trader played his last card. It turned out that he had a hired thug upstairs. He was infantry captain dismissed from Iskanda, hired by the slave trader. Seeing his bulky stature, Charlotte sensed trouble, but the boy reassured her. His appraisal eyes revealed that the strong man was no match for Reeds. Unaware of his disadvantage, he dismissed Reeds' skinny build and underestimated him. Too slow, Reeds' skill far surpassed the strong man's, disabling him completely with one move. The slave trader dared not speak, letting the boy take Charlotte. This greatly shocked Charlotte. Reeds' strength and the boy's words convinced her S-level magic was real. Hearing the boy invite her to join again, this time she agreed. But before that, she wanted to go to a place. Soon, they arrived at a desolate wilderness. This beautiful scenery was Charlotte's secret base, undisturbed by anyone. She came here to personally confirm her magical aptitude. Fortunately, Reeds had borrowed magical tools from those they defeated for testing. After explaining the testing method to Charlotte, they began. Forma, Igni erupt. This surprised not only the three of them, but also everyone below. Turns out they had never seen such powerful magic in their lives. While everyone wondered about the caster talent testing crystal was cracked, both the boy and Reeds were shocked. They hadn't expected an S-level talent to be so extraordinary. After all, it was supposed to be Charlotte's first time using magic. At this, even Reeds had to admit defeat. Charlotte asked the boy about the benefits of becoming his retainer. She learned she'd get place to live, food, and a monthly salary. Charlotte asked if she could donate her salary to the orphans. The boy naturally agreed, and Charlotte had no more reservations. After recruiting his second lieutenant, he quickly introduced her to his father. Unexpectedly, his father immediately refused, deeming a woman on battlefield too dangerous. Left with no choice, the boy had Charlotte demonstrate her skills on the spot. Forma, Igni erupt. Please teach me a lot in the future. Alright, the boy discovered the youngest son of Old Wang had greatest talent. Although frail and timid, he reached S-level strategy with 109 intellectual potential. It is worth noting that most people are fortunate to reach 50. This made the boy immediately determined to recruit the youngest son. To see others' talents is an ability he acquired after reincarnation. In this war-torn otherworld, recruiting geniuses has been his way of survival. Recently, the genius he targeted had already made a name for herself. In just 3 years, Charlotte became known as the strongest magic soldier. The war over a territorial dispute had troubled his father, but with Charlotte's presence, they had easily achieved victory. A powerful magic soldier can play a significant role on the battlefield. This pushed the boy to continue using his appraisal to scout talents. The boy heard a family of hunters were moving to their territory. Among were two skilled brothers, so he decided to check them out. If their talents were good, he would recruit them. As he neared his destination, an arrow struck a moving wild sow. The boy looked up. It was the brothers he wanted to meet. Indeed, they lived up to their reputation. Driven by curiosity, the boy immediately opened his appraisal eye. Discovering one brother had an A in infantry, the other in archery, satisfied the boy. At this moment, the brothers also noticed him. After his request, the family warmly welcomed the boy at house. Old Man was delighted that the Lord's son wanted them as retainers. While they were conversing, a hand stealthily took bread from the table. The boy thought it was a thief, but the man's third son. The old man scolded the youngest for his thoughtlessness. While happening, the boy opened his appraisal eye out of boredom, but this glance was significant. The values he saw astounded him. The youngest had several A-level talents, and his strategic talent reached S. But he's most shocked by the 109 intelligence score, the potential limit. Despite his age, his current intelligence of 45 surpassed most adults. If one had to describe it, it was as if Kuroda Kanbei was alive. Without hesitation, the boy decided to take him on as a retainer. This surprised the old man since the youngest was considered the dunce. Trusting his appraisal eye, the boy reiterated his intention, scaring Roselle into tears. This gave the boy a great idea. The next day, he suggested Roselle to try hunting using traps. Roselle agreed, but his brothers thought traps were slower than direct capture. The boy didn't want to explain to them but instead encouraged Roselle. Weapons are not only about strength and physical power, sometimes intelligence is also a weapon. If successful, he believed his father would see Roselle in new light. Although somewhat unsure, Roselle decided to give it a try. Not long enough, the old man called to the scene was astonished. He couldn't believe that the enclosure contained so many so. He learned Roselle used traps and book knowledge to catch so. He painted fences yellow to lure so, exploiting their charging habit. Once they entered, there was no going back. He hung herbs to keep so mother and children out with the smell. He also made small holes for children to escape, preventing their extinction. He had even thought about coexisting with nature. The old man was shocked and finally recognized his youngest son's talents. If not for the boy, he might never have discovered them. After some thought, he decided to entrust Roselle to the boy's care. Although reluctant, Roselle was persuaded when assured he won't go to battlefield. He realized that reading could indeed lead to achievements. The successful trap trial restored his confidence and promised better family life. After persuading Roselle, the boy gained another general and his two brothers. Thank you. The boy didn't expect his demure fiancée to have 80-rated ambition. Seeing others' talents is an innate superpower of the boy. At age 9, his father told him he had a fiancée, but this meeting was disappointing, turning his anticipation into disillusionment. Considering her likely goal to usurp his family's territory, he felt uneasy. As his wariness grew, Leisha, noticing his silent stare, wondered if something was on her face. You must be so handsome that you've stunned him. How embarrassing. How cute. But cuteness alone couldn't sway him. He decided to wait and see. At that moment, Reitz happened to walk by. Butler intended to say, "Isn't this just a marca, an inferior race?" But the next second, he was reprimanded by Leisha. Reitz is a renowned warrior in the boy's household with many achievements. She demands the butler apologize for slandering and being rude. The boy remained neutral but thought, "Keep acting. I'll catch your slip." The boy thought this way, but found no fault in her actions. Leisha was polite and quickly befriended the servants with kindness. Her political genius, rated at 100, made her every move appropriate. Leisha was very good at socializing. Without his appraisal ability, he would have likely fallen for her instantly. This scene was fully observed by the recently recruited strategist. Though Leisha seemed beautiful and polite, he felt something terrifying about her. Charlotte felt the same, but differently. She was actually jealous. Leisha wanted to stroll in town, so boy fulfilled her wish. They met many curious residents about the girl along the way. He introduced her as his fiancée, and Leisha smiled politely. Two old ladies instantly liked her, seeing them as a handsome couple. The boy smiled, but he knew she was a crisis for their territory. Suddenly, an argument between two people caught his attention. Curious, the boy found out they were arguing over a magic stone shipment. The furniture maker ordered flame magic stone, but the supplier brought sound. This mistake happened because their business was conducted verbally without clarity. As the next lord, the boy needed to calm the situation. Leisha suggested an idea while the boy pondered what to do next, hoping she'd asked for a favor if she resolved the issue successfully. Before he could react, Leisha had already approached the two men. She started by saying that fighting would ruin their handsome faces. Leisha introduced herself as the next lord's fiancée, there to resolve the dispute. The men were captivated, surprised by the boy's charming fiancée. Leisha offered to buy the sound magic stone at a higher price. She also suggested selling flame magic stones at a lower price from their volcanoes. True or not, she mentioned that the idea was actually the boy's. This statement resolved the conflict, and the men sincerely thanked the boy. Indeed, a future lord who would even help such common folk. After everyone left, the boy couldn't help but admire Leisha's political acumen. As dusk fell, his worst fear materialized. Leisha had not forgotten the favor she'd done in resolving the dispute. The boy needed to fulfill a request for her. "I hope you will answer my next question honestly. Lord Ars, what kind of person do you like?" What kind of question is that? This response made the boy perplexed, unable to grasp her true intentions. However, this was also an opportunity for the boy. Unable to outsmart her, he says he likes someone genuine for heartfelt conversations. As soon as he said this, the air suddenly went quiet. But Leisha's reaction was somewhat disappointing to him. She simply said she would take it as a reference, then left. Evening came, and he hosted a lavish dinner followed by a banquet. The territory enjoyed a pleasant night. To his regret, he still couldn't decipher Leisha's thoughts by the end. Tomorrow, Leisha would return home, and the boy continued probing her. Unexpectedly, when he pulled back his blanket, he found a surprise inside. Leisha's reaction was within her expectations. She asked him to be quiet and explained that she'd sneaked out. She came here only to see the boy's surprised expression. One must admit, she was quite flirtatious. The real reason she came because he mentioned he likes heartfelt conversations. She has an ability to understand emotions by observing, even if hidden. Therefore, seeing the boy today, she could tell he was suspicious. She was confident that 2 minutes of conversation would lower his guard. Despite her efforts and killer smile, the boy's suspicions only increased. Ultimately, he expressed a desire to hear her honest thoughts. Greatly puzzled, she couldn't understand what exactly the boy was suspicious of. Regarding Leisha's question, the boy had considered playing dumb. Observing her uneasiness, he revealed his ability to see others' talents. Suspecting her high ambition, he wondered if she had an agenda. Hearing this, Leisha's confusion was finally resolved. Although he misunderstood her, one thing is correct: she had an ambition. What ambition do you have? Do I really have to say it? A woman's ambition is for an outstanding man to fall for her instantly. Please say something serious. Misunderstanding aside, Leisha's point was valid. Marrying a powerful man benefits her. The boy was puzzled why she showed interest in a small territory. However, Leisha saw through the boy's thoughts for the first time. She would have ended the engagement if he were insignificant, but she reconsidered. The territory ruled by his family is small, but this might change. She believed the boy was talented and wouldn't confine to small matters. From the townspeople's reaction, it was clear that they loved him. When he introduced her fiancé, they were thrilled, as if their own. This completely changed her previous perspective. Originally, in her territory, everyone was dishonest and unwilling to speak honestly. To gain status and power, they would not hesitate to sacrifice others. Growing up, she gradually put on a mask over time. Eventually, she realized marrying a powerful man could free her from conspiracies. The boy changed her view, showing genuine love, a leader's irreplaceable trait. I've come to like you, just like everyone else in your territory. Thank you. I should go back to my room. Good night. The next morning, Leisha set off for home. Marriage was for the future, and the boy was reluctant but helpless. From then on, they began to correspond by letters. Although they couldn't meet for the time being, the boy was satisfied. After that day's events, he truly regarded her as his significant other. The boy soon faced a severe test, disrupting his peaceful life. His father wanted him to become a warrior by witnessing an execution. If he could watch without changing expression, he would be qualified. Although the man deserved death, personal experience changed his simplistic views. Controlling one's expression is not as easy as he thought. In an instant, he felt endless fear and disgust magnified within him. His father was harsh because a war was imminent in Messian. A few nights ago, a dead soldier assassinated the governor, eluding guards. The eldest should have been the heir, but the will named his brother. Convinced it was his brother's scheme, the inheritance dispute began. District governors had to take sides, but the father couldn't choose. It was then that the father shared his predictions with the boy. Governors would likely side with the older brother, given their temperament. Tomorrow, the governor would have a meeting with the local lords. The father had just briefed the boy when an unexpected accident occurred. No one expected the father would fall ill at this crucial moment. Thus, next morning, the boy had to go in his father's place. Although he had an invitation, the guard at the door was suspicious. The boy seemed like a kid. Now who takes charge? Are you doubting us? Could you be the flame princess of the Luvent family? Are you just noticing now? This one's the Grim Reaper of Luvent. What's going on? What exactly happened on the battlefield? Unbeknownst to him, he had already gained a significant reputation. The two retainers he'd recruited became renowned on the battlefield. Soon, under the guard's lead, they arrived at the council hall. However, before they even entered, he saw Governor's retainer, Minas. The boy never met Minas, but heard he was a renowned strategist. Out of curiosity, he opened his appraisal eye. As expected, Minas's skills were close to 80, resembling an all-rounder type. At this moment, Minas extended an invitation to Reitz and Charlotte. He hoped they wouldn't mind and could work for the governor. Faced with the invitation, Reitz immediately refused, vowing to serve the boy. Charlotte did the same. Seeing this, Minas had no choice but to give up. Soon after, the boy entered the council hall. Before he arrived, there were already two lords present. Seeing this, as a matter of courtesy, the boy promptly introduced himself. Unexpectedly, after talking for a while, the two completely ignored him. Realizing his age might be the issue, the boy took his seat. Feeling nervous, the old man next to him suddenly complimented his introduction. He realized this person was Khmer's lord who often played with him. With an old acquaintance present, the boy relaxed quite a bit. However, the neighboring lord unexpectedly stared at him fiercely, just as the boy was about to ask why. At this moment, the governor suddenly entered, and seeing the two lords, he quickly got up, and the boy followed suit in a fitting manner. At the same time, he also activated his appraisal eye. He surprised the governor's combat power was 98, close to his father's. More surprisingly, that governor's low other abilities complemented the strategist's. Seeing this, the boy felt reassured. With these two present, the country's judgments would certainly be correct. As expected, the governor's speech matched what the boy's father had predicted. In this war, they would stand with the eldest son. Additionally, rumors suggested Site's state might exploit the civil war to attack. After advising all the lords to be prepared, the meeting came ended. After the governor left, the boy realized why the other lord had stared. It turned out that this man was his father-in-law, Leisha's father. He's angry because his daughter was upset, reportedly because of boy's neglect. He remembered forgetting to reply to Leisha's letters due to recent wars. After returning, he hurriedly wrote a letter explaining the recent events. Afterwards, the boy continued preparing for the impending war without rest. The boy went to the training field to begin his training. With war imminent, his desire to become stronger grew, not holding back. But then, unexpected news arrived. Site's state dispatched troops attacking Khmer, led by the kind old man. The governor requested immediate deployment, but the boy would have sent troops anyway. Reitz's analysis suggested that if Site's state attacked Messian and Khmer fell, Lambert would likely be next. Traditionally, his father would lead, but now, the boy had to. Although lacking his father's prowess, his presence alone could inspire the troops. Moreover, he had 3 capable lieutenants to assist him. As the boy prepared to deploy after gathering soldiers, his father appeared. His father appeared because he couldn't let the boy go to battle. As the boy tried to protest his father's illness, he interrupted. If it's for the sake of protecting our homeland, then I'm willing to. Reitz intervened, promising to protect him, but the father immediately silenced him. This is not your place to speak. The father explained that the boy still lacked a warrior's expression. Stunned, the boy watched his father ordered soldiers to bring a prisoner. This man was a death row inmate, guilty of all sorts of crimes. The execution, delayed due to the father's illness, will test the boy. This made Leisha feel helpless herself. Despite being his fiancée, she felt useless in his time of pain. Knowing that the boy was still training, Leisha hurried to find him. As she approached to greet him, she hesitated, thinking it wasn't time. With this thought, she closed the door. Feeling heavy-hearted, a maid arrived with news. The boy's father had awakened. About to share the news, maid said he asked for them first. Thus, with anxious hearts, the 3 went to Raven's room. Although in a frail state, the presence he commanded was still formidable. As Reitz and Roselle hesitated to move, Charlotte said, "I've never seen that expression before. Has he become abnormal after fainting?" "It's okay. I'm not calling you here as a lord," Raven said. "What does that mean?" Charlotte asked. Raven didn't answer directly, instead asked how they felt about living here. Although their experiences differed, they consistently described the place as heaven. Hearing this, Raven simply opened the window and spoke frankly. "I am not long for this world. I know my body best, and very aware my end is near. At death's door, people realize how much remains undone. I wish I'd taken the boy to battle more often to teach him, but unfortunately, he is no longer capable of that. He hopes they will look after the boy, not as a lord's command, but as a father's request." Although he initially thought the presence of the 3 was absurd, one is a marca, one a woman, and merely a 5-year-old child, he now admires the boy's unique judgment and is proud of them joining. Raven's words were unnecessary. The 3 would have remained loyal regardless. Without the boy, they wouldn't have their present lives. Hearing this, Raven genuinely smiled. After their conversation, Leisha was surprised to be called by her future father-in-law. Unexpectedly, as a skilled socialite, she introduced herself with ease. Meeting for the first time under such circumstances, she felt very apologetic. Unexpectedly, Raven laughed and said this was not their first meeting. Surprised, Leisha learned that Raven had arranged for her to be the boy's fiancée. It turns out they had met several years ago at a funeral. During their first meeting, he thought how mature the child seemed. While other children were noisy, this little girl was quiet and comforting. From that moment, he knew Leisha as sensible with great potential, and she was very gentle, making her the perfect wife candidate. Being close to Leisha's father that time, they quickly agreed on the match. He hoped she wouldn't mind the small territory or find boy unreliable. However, Raven was overthinking it. Leisha defended the boy, saying he worked hard to go to battle. Hearing this, Raven said no more, knowing that Leisha truly loved him. After a while, Leisha's conversation also ended. After informing Raven he wanted to see the boy, others prepared to call him, but Reitz stayed behind. As the first retainer, he felt a deep connection to Raven. He taught him swordsmanship and how to be a person. Facing Raven's illness, he's helpless and silently vent in a corner. Soon, the boy also arrived, bringing some herbs with him. During Raven's time at war, he had researched a lot about the illness, but if curing it were simple, doctors would not be needed. Raven did not want to discourage the boy. "I hope father gets well soon. You've grown up." The boy's words made Raven reflect on the past. At the boy's age, Raven aspired to be a warrior, and unlike the boy, he had to fight his way up. He was born in a remote village. The lord of the land that time imposed heavy taxes on residents. Unable to endure poverty-stricken life, he left the village for the town. Coincidentally, the town's lord was hosting a banquet for the governor's arrival. Seeing the man's imposing and robust appearance, he was deeply impressed. He set him as his goal, self-studied swordsmanship, and became a soldier. Eventually, he promoted to lord, protecting his territory as his life's purpose. His grave illness was due to old ailment from those early years, so the boy need not to blame himself for it. "Ars, I'm leaving it all to you now, please. Your expression has improved a lot." After that, no more incidents occurred. Just like that, father and son began talking deeply into the night. Next morning, Raven passed away, his vibrant presence just a final flicker. The boy could only cremate him with a blazing fire. At that moment, the boy inherited the position of the lord. Although young, the residents greatly acknowledged him, having watched him grow up. The boy's story truly begins at this moment. From now on, the legend of the Luvent family begins. The boy could never have imagined the person in front of him. The elder sister appeared gentle and wise, but was a top-tier assassin. With 90 in martial prowess and intelligence, surprisingly, she was a male. Being able to see others' talents is the boy's innate superpower. He didn't expect the assassin guild leader to be such a character. Without his abilities, he'd never have guessed the female waitress disguise. 3 months after his father's death, the boy became the new lord. Although young, the governor did not underestimate him. Instead, he called the boy and other lords for a meeting today. Recently, the governor's 2 sons planned to wage war for the governorship. The 2 were evenly matched, so surrounding support was crucial for victory. The eldest son tried to win over districts, but Purina remained unswayed. Although small, Purina was the shortest route route for attacking the younger's capital. Without Purina, they couldn't establish an efficient supply line for the front. Therefore, the purpose of this meeting was to attack Purina soon. While others planned, the boy suggested he try winning over Purina himself. This statement surprised everyone. Unbeknownst to them, this was a strategy suggested by the strategist Roselle. Purina was very suspicious. It would easily fall if attacked. Why did they refuse to sway? He suspected a hidden reason behind Purina's refusal. Reitz agreed and suggested gathering intelligence on it first. He heard of a very skilled mercenary group called Shadow. Knowing that Reitz could contact them, Roselle suggested to the boy, if the assembly proposed attacking Purina, the boy should use negotiation to delay. That's why the scene just now occurred. Seeing the boy's confidence and insight, the governor agreed to delay troop deployment. Thus, with a mission in hand, Reitz quickly contacted the Shadow mercenaries. As the boy planned to leave tomorrow, he unexpectedly ran into Lisha. Upon learning of the boy's plan, she insisted on going with him. The boy wanted to refuse due to danger, but Lisha insisted. That evening, Lisha stayed at his place and refused to leave. Lord Ars, please, I can't go back tonight. Then I'll ask someone to prepare a room for you to sleep. I can sleep in the same room as Lord Ars. We can't do that. At the same time, this made Charlotte also feel a crisis. Though Lisha and the boy were legitimately together, she felt oddly upset. Without any hesitation, she immediately suggested that she wanted to sleep together. Roselle, watching the excitement, didn't expect Charlotte to drag him in next. Thus, the situation escalated, turning a supposedly peaceful night into chaos. Lord Ars, good morning. Did you sleep well? Good morning. I couldn't sleep at all. Me neither. Time quickly came to depart, and the Shadow mercenaries' location was a disguised tavern. On the way, Reitz told the boy about the Shadow mercenaries. It turned out they were skilled in both intelligence gathering and assassinations. Although the boy was concerned because Shadow recently changed its leader. The new leader was not only very young, but also highly competent. Since his appearance, Shadow had become even more formidable organization than before. But isn't that a good thing? Lisha was a bit puzzled. Reitz said, the leader takes only preferred assignments, not higher paying ones. It seems purely based on personal preference. This makes things a bit complicated. Meanwhile, they had arrived at their destination. The boy was still a bit worried, but then unexpectedly, welcome, what a cute little brother. We also have juice available. Okay, sorry, we're full right now. Please come back later. The stark contrast was evident, but Reitz told him not to worry. It turned out that full was just a code word. After Reitz gave the code, the man's expression changed, offering seats immediately. The boy and his party took seats, but the atmosphere became tense. They could always feel the cold stares around them. Seeing this, the boy discreetly activated his appraisal eye. Shadow might covertly blend in with customers to investigate their potential clients. But at that moment, Charlotte's comment brought him back to reality. How can we keep such a cute server waiting? It turns out they hadn't ordered yet. In a rush, the boy didn't know what to order. As he decided on juice, the server shocked him with impressive skills. A 22-year-old male with 90 martial prowess and intelligence skills. Is there something wrong? Nothing. After the server left, the boy went to the bathroom to wash his face. Thinking his appraisal eye is malfunctioning, he secretly checked Reitz's abilities again. But after confirming there was no issue, the boy felt completely off. A server with such abilities, even cross-dressing, clearly indicated his true identity. While the boy was pondering, a voice interrupted him. Ars Luvent, how did you know I am the leader of Shadow? Answer me. At this critical moment, Reitz arrived just in time. A genius with S combat value, his prowess surpassed even the leaders. Well known as a Grim Reaper, he quickly subdued the opponent. Realizing Reitz's depth, the leader had no choice but to stand down. He wondered how Reitz knew he was here without calling for backup. Just then, Lisha walked in, and the answer became apparent. It was she who had called Reitz. From the beginning, she immediately noticed something's off about the boy's expression. The Shadow leader confronted them with a knife, making refusal difficult. Although the leader was puzzled by Lisha's knowledge, he wasn't buying it. If exerted full strength, he could kill the boy and then escape. The boy was baffled, but Lisha flatly said it was impossible. Reitz's strength makes it nearly impossible for the leader to escape alone. Hearing this, the leader remained silent, but still refused to give in. What if I refuse even at the risk of my own life? I am very angry. You just mentioned killing Lord Ars. If that happens, I'll chase you everywhere and end you myself. How terrifying. This remark seemed unimportant, but actually made the leader burst into laughter. To date, he had never seen such a fearsome lady. After apologizing for his rudeness, he had a question. Why did the boy know his identity if the disguise was perfect? The boy in fact didn't hide his talent to see others' abilities. The leader's face was full of disbelief. If that's all, I can't accept it. What must I do for you to believe me? Mazak, sir. That name is wrong. He had abandoned that name long ago, now going by Fam. He believed the boy truly had this ability and was their bane. Upon agreeing to take the commission, the boy was shocked. After all, he hadn't even mentioned the details of the commission yet. Wasn't Fam worried about the unclear origins? It's unnecessary because observing the boy's surroundings revealed his strength and character. One is a mark of unfathomable strength. One is a little sister whose audacity doesn't match her age. So how could the boy be anything trivial? After inviting them in for a discussion, Fam learned the commission details. He found out it was to investigate Purina's resistance. plans. So he asked the boy to return in 5 days. That quickly? Don't worry, gathering intelligence is our specialty. It's our strong suit. The boy never expected the respectable-looking top assassin had a cross-dress hobby. He flawlessly posed as a female server and even flirted with him. Amazing, Mr. Pham. Without my ability, I'd never have guessed he was a man. Fortunately, as top assassin, his efficiency in handling tasks was well reputed. In just 5 days, he gathered the intelligence and exceeded expectations. However, upon gathering, he unexpectedly stole a covenant from the governor's residence. This bore nobles' signatures and seals, pledging allegiance to the younger son. Purina counties clearly listed, but they discovered Masa County's seal unexpectedly. Masa County has a powerful military force, massively influencing current bipolar situation. They were supposed to follow the eldest son, but seemingly betrayed them. If Masa County intervened, their encirclement would collapse, risking a two-sided attack. Upon learning this crucial information, the boy immediately informed the governor. The governor took it seriously, knowing heavy losses were inevitable if true. Just as the governor was thanking the boy, at that moment, the governor's assistant, Minas, noticed something suspicious: Masa County's signature and seal. At first glance, they seemed genuine, but comparing the documents revealed differences. The seal details and the handwriting in the signature differed slightly. Other signatures and seals were indeed genuine, those from Masa County's. Considering the document came from Purina's governor, it likely was false information. Masa County's rebellion is a deception, misleading them into supporting younger son. Attack on Purina would be a trap, allowing the bystander to benefit. Fortunately, explaining this to Purina County could naturally resolve the crisis. However, the governor couldn't make contact with Purina County at all. Many messengers were sent, but they were never even granted an audience. Unexpectedly, Roselle had an idea regarding this. He suggested the boy pretend to defect by following governor's younger son. Sure enough, this strategy successfully secured a meeting with the Purina's governor. The naive Purina governor thought the boy was an ally. After successfully meeting him, the situation simplified. The boy also brought a trump card. You are the governor of Masa County. It turns out Roselle suggested to bring Masa County's governor. After all, whoever tied the knot must untie it. They needed him to prove the covenant was fake. Originally, that's the plan, but Masa's enraged governor insisted on appearing personally. As a major city's ruler, Masa County's governor had a strong influence. The oppressive presence of Masa County's governor frightened Purina's governor instantly. After the revelation, he chose to align with the older son. Although seen as a turncoat, the crisis was finally resolved. As he left, the governor of Masa County openly admired the boy. Without him, this bloody turmoil would surely have led to greater instability. The boy was quite taken aback by this. He's credited with resolving the situation single-handedly, but Roselle's help was crucial. As time passed, each geniuses he had gathered had grown incredibly. Feeling sentimental, the boy was told the elder son wanted to meet. This left the boy bewildered. To him, it was like a village head meeting the city mayor, an immense status gap. However, the governor told the boy not to worry. The elder son summoned him due to interest in how he handled the situation. Hearing this, the boy was reassured. I understand. I'll be mentally prepared until that day comes. What are you talking about? We're going to see him now. Let's set off. Right now, the boy never imagined the disheveled drunkard before him had monstrous abilities. With essence, strategy, and other capabilities, he was far above average. Both his intelligence and ambition scored over 100. With the boy's innate talent, he had once again found another treasure. His S-level geniuses resolved a Mysian state crisis, catching governor's son's attention. But upon arriving, the boy realized how out of place he was. Apart from him, the room was filled with veteran lords and governors. Fortunately, the governor's elder son soon entered, and the room fell silent. This was the boy's first time seeing Kuran in person. Curious, he assessed others and was stunned by their dazzling values. Leadership 99, Valor 99, Ambition 93. Undoubtedly, these were the qualities fit for governing this place. Then the boy understood why both the governor and his father followed him. At this moment, Kuran explained the reason for gathering everyone. After his father's death, his younger brother, Vasmark, declared war against him. Despite the crisis in Mysian state, the empire's inaction showed its corruption, and it's always destruction and renewal that change the times. Kuran said, I aim to win this war and establish Mysian as nation. Yes, he intended to declare independence and establish a nation. As everyone struck at his bold words, Kuran commended the boy. He saw through his brother's scheme and realigned Purina County peacefully. That kid? Someone questioned. However, this reaction was exactly what Kuran expected. He told the crowd that results one achieved mattered more than age. By that measure, the boy had achieved more than anyone else present. After applauding him, Kuran concluded his speech, having achieved his aim. As expected, many people greeted the boy afterward, which exhausted him. Soon, he found himself alone on the balcony to relax. He realized being a lord meant mastering territory management and social interactions. Unexpectedly, Kuran suddenly appeared before him, which greatly startled the boy. Luckily, Kuran simply wanted a private chat. Interested with the boy's discernment capabilities, he heard of the boy's talented subordinates and wanted his opinions. They had interacted during the banquet, but the boy hesitated when asked. As he assessed during social interactions. None showed extraordinary values or talents. Expecting to be upset, the boy was surprised when Kuran laughed appreciatively. He liked the boy's honesty, noting his earnest subordinates were regrettably mediocre. This made him reaffirm that the upcoming battle would be challenging. Although spoke eloquently, he admitted his brother's side had more cunning individuals. They relied merely on financial and military power to maintain upper hand. Hearing about the boy's performance was delightful because they gained true talent. With this, he promised the boy governorship if he won the war. Starting today, the boy could attend military meetings and bring his subordinates. Before parting, he asked the boy to find capable talents for him. Although candidates were available around the boy, directly asking wouldn't be agreeable. It'd be better to find an opportunity to assist him with this. Naturally, the boy saw no reason to refuse this request. Back home, he asked Reitz for an efficient way to find talents. Reitz surprised him by suggesting Pham, the Shadow Mercenaries' leader info expert. After conveying this to Pham, he agreed readily. The boy was merely testing as he hadn't received such commission before. Unexpectedly, the talent arrived quicker than anticipated. Sorry, the shop is still preparing. I'm not here to eat. I just want to find a job here. Young master. The key issue lay in this young master. He believed his cross-dressing was perfect, yet someone else saw through it. He thought this drunk was special. He showed him to the boy. Thus, the boy was bewildered again. He hadn't expected Pham to act so swiftly, bringing a disheveled drunk. Introduced by Pham, he decided to try, curious about the person's skills, and first, to just assess him. Warfare 70, Politics 51. This is Intelligence 103, Ambition 100. Monster. The boy unexpectedly discovered that the woman's ambition score was 100. Initially, he thought recruiting someone with S-level strategy is beneficial, but hesitated. The boy's superpower reveals talents, making it dangerous to invite her home. Although others can't see her ability scores, but Reitz was cautious. Her past role and brother's position with their opponent triggered his concern. He wouldn't let such a person become a retainer for the boy. Roselle shared his concerns. However, the boy knew such talent is valuable, placing him in dilemma. Because this means Mireille might be a spy, but why so overt? After some thought, the boy decided to hire her anyway. Putting aside ambition, her abilities were indeed genuine. He initially mistook his fiancée's high ambition, which was actually an affection. Therefore, the ambition score alone was not enough to determine potential betrayal. Thus, after overcoming objections, Mireille was successfully integrated into the team. To the boy's surprise, in following days, Mireille stirred discontent among everyone. She neither worked nor guided soldiers, spending her days sleeping and drinking. She's far from the expected military advisor, and Roselle felt the same. He approached Mireille to teach him reading, but made him run outside. It didn't make sense, but explained he needed to find his way. Just then, a loud noise suddenly came from outside. As the soldiers prepared for battle, they discovered Charlotte casting a spell. The reason was that Mireille insisted she do it with all her might. One speaks, the other acts, further inflaming those already dissatisfied with Mireille. Her lax duties and increased workload only to their dissatisfaction. But hearing this, Mireille was very puzzled. Why do you all have such a big problem with my method? She just wanted to do what she felt like doing. At this point, even the boy was at a loss for words. Seeing his dilemma, Mireille saw she might have overstepped but chose to stay. Hearing this made the boy freeze. Given everyone's complaints, continuing to stay should be unpleasant for her. But Mireille's answer was simple. She stayed because he's first to truly acknowledge her since the governor. Despite other reasons, she knew she must win everyone over to stay. She suggested a mock battle because she performed better in actual combat. Without waiting for the boy to think it over, Reitz eagerly agreed. He had been irked by Mireille for a long time, so he saw this as a chance to witness her real capabilities. Though sudden, it was also a good opportunity to test her. Thus, the arrangements were made. The mock battle would split into 2 teams of 50. It would take place in the eastern forest area until sunset. Victory will come from defeating more soldiers or capturing the enemy's commander. Considering Charlotte's magic could annihilate an army, the boy banned fire magic. However, she was allowed to use sound and light magic potion. The sound attribute acted as an alarm. Meanwhile, the light worked like a flashbang, both serving auxiliary roles. The mock battle began, and everyone held their breath, anticipating this contest. The mock battle aimed to test Mireille's strategy, so the boy joined her team. But during the team formation, an unexpected thing happened. Everyone unanimously joined Reitz's team, leaving Mireille without any teammates. After all, if she lost, she would be fired. But to start the battle, a veteran ordered rookies to join Mireille. Although it seemed unfair, and Mireille was indifferent, the boy reluctantly agreed. Soon, the mock battle began. Reitz's side had Roselle as the commander, while Mireille's side had the boy. Unlike Reitz's side, which was filled with experts, Mireille's soldiers lacked enthusiasm. This highlighted the stark disparity in combat strength between the two sides. However, Mireille didn't care. She actually thought they would win. Although they couldn't change their combat strength, there's countless strategies to employ. Initially, the situation seemed against them, but could be seen as fortunate. Meanwhile, Reitz also prepared to attack. Although they could theoretically steamroll through, he chose to be cautious. He decided to divide his troops into 2 groups. He led the front half, while Roselle led the other half at some distance. Wherever Mireille attacked, attacked. Using sound magic allows them to regroup quickly. Roselle saw no issues with Ritz's plan, but wanted to set traps. If the enemy stepped into their march route, they would know immediately. Thus, the battle commenced. To Ritz's surprise, the sound magic exploded nearby before they moved far. Someone had already triggered their traps, but when Ritz approached, he was stunned. The enemy was one person who came specifically to deliver a message. He'd reveal Mary's battle plan because, like Ritz, he wanted her fired. Though Ritz suspected a trick, he was curious to hear the plan. Mary's guessed cautious Ritz would split his forces to handle them. Thus, Mary had sent him as bait to lure Ritz into a trap. Sound magic would signal and ambush the other squad, capturing their commander. He suggested to Ritz that they should all enter the trap together. When he signaled with sound magic, they could catch Mary off guard. The explanation seemed logical, but Ritz didn't trust it blindly. He captured the informant without hesitation and stuck to the original plan. Unexpectedly, instead of being ambushed, they spotted Mary's side first. From a distance, it seemed they hadn't noticed them yet. He cautioned his men to approach, encircled them, then launched surprise attack. Surprisingly, Mary had anticipated this and had been prepared all along. The soldiers turned out to be mere dummies dressed in uniforms. Well done, just as I thought. You're quite the actor. What's going on? Where are the other soldiers? Indeed, cleverness had led to his own undoing. The redhead had not lied after all. By a twist of fate, Ritz had still entered the trap. Evidently, the unseen soldiers had already moved to attack the other squad. The good news was capturing the boy would still secure their victory. What use were two mere figureheads? That's quite scary, but I'm very confident in my stamina and speed. Coincidentally, so am I. Let's start the race. Everyone, attack. The boy never expected the S-level strategy advisor could outpace well-trained soldiers. She did so even while carrying their own weight. If he hadn't seen it himself, he wouldn't believe an advisor could have such physical ability. Even as she was nearly caught, she used traps to surprise pursuers. In just a moment, more than half of the soldiers were out of the game. However, Ritz, known as the Reaper on the battlefield, was an exception. These little tricks could only slightly delay him. Catching up was just a matter of time based on his running speed. The boy and Miri fled through the forest, pursued relentlessly by Ritz. Miri constantly changed paths, using the terrain and traps to delay him. Despite her efforts, Ritz's speed and sharp judgment helped him close in. Miri, we're about to be caught, the boy gasped. Don't worry, I have final trick, Miri calmly replied. But these were also anticipated by Miri. She'd already instructed the boy to prepare flash grenades and preset earplugs. At the crucial moment, she threw them, and it was too late. The explosion caused temporary deafness and blindness, losing sight of the boy. However, Ritz knew these tactics well, having seen them many times before. Quickly, he located the boy's position again. He caught up in just 2.5 seconds. Unlike the boy's panic, Miri remained composed. By her calculation, the rest of their team should have nearly succeeded. While she and the boy drew Ritz's main force, her squad tackled Roselle's side. Although the distribution of forces in the mock battle was somewhat unfair, their troops were green recruits, and logically they couldn't beat Roselle's veterans. But what about 2 against 1? That was Miri's strategy. She used an unexpected tactic to capture Roselle and win the battle. By the time Roselle realized, it was too late. If they engaged then, they would undoubtedly be defeated in time. After all, being outnumbered is a simple truth even Charlotte could understand. Without waiting for Roselle to speak, she just grabbed him and ran. Restricted from using magic, she quickly planned meeting up with Ritz's side. Even if they didn't meet, running could buy time for Ritz's side. After all, Miri's side had only 2 commanders left. Ritz would undoubtedly defeat Miri if it dragged on. Meanwhile, this noise also reached the boy's side. What Charlotte didn't know was her action made Miri's eyes light up. She had finally found Roselle's position. This immediately gave Ritz a bad feeling. After running far, I should be far from Roselle and his group. But why does the sound seem so close? Could it be? Meanwhile, Roselle was somewhat confused. He never expected Charlotte's flash grenade would leave him incapacitated in combat. Faced with enemy soldiers chasing him, he could only run alone. Unknown to Roselle, he was actually heading into a dead end. More precisely, caught between a proverbial rock and a hard place. From above, Ligia was the first to react as the battle unfolded. She now understood that Miri's goal was not recklessly challenging Ritz. The 2 against 1 tactic was merely a decoy. Her true target had always been Roselle. It was as if she had taken a detour to intentionally approach Roselle. With this realization, Ligia instantly knew the outcome was decided. She led everyone to witness the result. As Roselle and Miri collided, running slowly meant being caught, but running straight, Roselle would be cornered. He would also run into Miri first. As Roselle hesitated, Ritz urged him not to stop. I'll defeat Miri now. With that, Ritz accelerated again. Seeing this, Miri quickly signaled the boy to throw the flash grenade. Though Ritz was prepared, victory or defeat hung in that moment. He didn't slow down. Lord Ars, pardon me. Coincidentally, this scene was just witnessed by Ligia and others. As expected, Miri won the mock battle. Ultimately, Ritz was too slow, allowing Miri to gain the upper hand. A result nobody had anticipated. Considering the initial vast disparity in forces, Miri's calm victory was unexpected. Hearing the outcome, the boys' side erupted in cheers. Only Ritz's veterans thought Miri's tactics were underhanded underhanded, believing they'd win directly. But Reitz interrupted them. There's no such thing as underhanded in battle, especially with our strength. Although reluctant, he had to admit they had been thoroughly defeated. Fair is fair, and Reitz promptly apologized for his earlier rudeness. He warmly welcomed Mary's inclusion. Roselle felt the same. He finally understood why Mary bizarrely insisted on training him to run. Meanwhile, soldiers apologized to Mary, and Charlotte praised Mary as exceptionally talented. The boy worried Mary might dampen the mood, but he overthought it. Mary even started to return compliments. First, Reitz, whom she highly admired, unexpectedly pushed her to such limits. Charlotte, if not restricted, would have left her no chance. Finally, Roselle's tactic of distancing from Reitz halfway through had her sweating. Her plan should have made finding Roselle easier, yet it almost backfired. But what impressed her most was the boy. Despite being from remote area, he gathered many loyal, capable individuals. This made her increasingly curious about the boy's intentions. Could it be he aspired to become the emperor of this country? With that, she instantly stunned everyone present. While the boy was taken aback, Mary was serious. You could definitely become one. To be an emperor. While the boy was still stunned, Mary eagerly moved on to the idea of having a drink. Realizing this was good opportunity, the boy decided to throw a party. Amid laughter and alcohol, a soldier asked Mary why she'd slacked off, not instructing them in training, just drinking. But Mary's answer was simple. She had nothing to teach. She believed Reitz's guidance made the soldiers far superior to ordinary ones. Hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded. Why hadn't she said this earlier? At this moment, Roselle also had an epiphany. He finally understood why Mary had him running. If his stamina had been better, they might have won the mock battle. He thought strategists only needed to devise plans, but it wasn't enough. Hearing this, Mary was gratified. She hadn't expected such a young child to grasp this so quickly. Roselle shouldn't fight directly, as his poor health could impair his skills. This realization made Roselle even more determined. I will work hard on running. Sorry about that. Charlotte, why not use magic from behind to push Roselle to run? That way, he'll have no choice but to run. No problem, the boy observed, but was more concerned with Mary's words to him, wondering how'd Reitz react wanting a world without war and becoming king. But upon hearing this, Reitz did not hesitate at all. His thoughts aligned with Mary's. No matter the boy's decision, he'd support him and serve him forever. The next morning, life was no longer as calm as usual. The soldiers felt Reitz fought more fiercely, clearly stimulated by yesterday's event. Roselle also got to work, determined to start training his physical endurance. The boy watched the fun until a maid arrived with a message, a letter from the governor's eldest son. Turns out that he wanted them to attend the next military meeting. After sharing this news, Mary volunteered to go first and take Roselle. Of course, it's up to you, Roselle. I'll do my best. This time, I want to go too. This isn't a party, it's a military meeting. I know. Well then, let's get ready to depart.